Hey, Cecil 188 here again. I had a request to analyze my own fight, so I'm going to do that quickly. Thankfully, it's much shorter. I'm actually going to start this one off during the previous phase with the dark side because this, this is where I get the all-important magic chain off. I never got the chance against Kefka because I killed him as soon as he went into Goner phase, but here it is. You basically use Quick and Ultima, and then if you have somebody else's turn at the ready, then you can just switch turn, mimic, switch turn, and immediately go into a menu. And the enemy ATB only fills for the time that you're out of the menu on every second turn in this case, because every other turn he's under quick status. So if you can imagine that I'm out of the menu for only a few frames, the enemy's ATB fills very little, and you can get a very large number of turns this way if you don't have to worry about counters or anything. You can see I've already taken something like 4 turns, and I haven't seen anything. If you use Ultima and Quick, then you're only off of Quick every 3rd turn instead, so you get even more mileage. I use Quick and then Ultima because, I don't know, that was probably a mistake. Using this setup is much easier if you have an Economizer, which I thankfully did steal from the Ice Dragon. The dark side dies when I'm not expecting. Ideally, you could use life 3 and then Rippler it onto the enemy, and then that means the enemy is guaranteed to have life 3 at that point, so you can kill him more predictably, because you revive him from life 3, and then he's got 8,191 HP. You know that without scan, because often you won't be able to scan this guy. So that's a great way to reliably kill him off with. If you've got somebody that has an 8 times attack setup, you can kill him off with somebody else, anybody else, so that your 8 times attack character can go first if he doesn't get destroyed by Kefka when he descends. Kefka used Hyperdrive, Fall Up to Fallen 1, which is pretty much optimal. Revenger would have hurt me badly, and Train would have also hurt me pretty badly. Takumi is under quick status, so Ultima is a good move here. And then his last spell is a defensive spell to not get countered. From here I do this incredibly nonsensical setup to heal, considering nobody else will get stuck like this because they'll have access to Cure 3 and Spades. You won't have to do complete nonsense. That only really works because Fiora happens to have 6,200 HP for some stupid reason. Because I'm playing so fast, one of Kefka's only turns is Ice 3, which is why you might want to not take this fight slowly, because once he runs out of the dark side script in this case, he'll start switching to his more dangerous stuff. So I use Quick to Ultima so that I don't eat a counter. Takumi could have also just burnt a spell to Quick and then get 4 spells after that for a total of 3 Ultimas as opposed to 2. I end up using 3 Ultimas anyways, which is a mistake because Takumi will get countered on the 3rd one. I was expecting when I used Quick and Ultima that I'd have 4 spells after that, but because I use Quick and then Ultima instead of Ultima and then Quick, I only get 2 spells after that instead of 4. So I use an offensive spell as the last spell, and Takumi gets killed after that. Muppet suggests to heal, especially with healing as awkward as it is for me. Not advisable. I think now that Muppets and most of you guys in the Beyond Chaos Discord has now seen the true face of the final fight and not this sheer luck fest that worked out in my favor. Eggplant says no need to be risky. I'd also disagree with that. I kind of yell at him in the video because I'm super tense, but alright, the second ultima here, as I just stated, idiot move. Straight up idiot move. I'd take a hyperdrive counter for this. Thankfully it all lines up correctly that Trucy's ending up using a defensive spell anyways, which ideally will be life 3. Everybody else has life 3, so it ends up not working out too badly for me. Obviously don't want to rely on luck to get out of your mistakes. Better to just not make them in the first place, and then I could have just burnt a spell on Ant Dot or something. Save some MP. But here goes a life 3. I accidentally use up all of my menus. Not that it really matters here, but if I had stayed in a menu there, things would have gone very terribly. Takumi would not have gotten his quick off, and things would have, and neither would Trucy actually, and things would have gotten really downhill from there. So if I had stayed in the menu during that head animation, I would have probably been screwed. So staying out of the menu is super important. Fiora apparently doesn't have life 3 there, I guess. I don't know. Kefka is in Goner phase, so I use 2 hyperdrives here. Definitely a good play on my part. Pretty obvious play, to be honest, but still important to highlight. During Goner phase, he will not counter regardless, so I was super surprised Takumi got this off, to be honest. X-Magic has such a delay to it. I used Ultima to quick. I could have Mimic chained this, but especially if I had been keeping track of HP, it would have been obvious that it would have been unnecessary. I also figured that I'd taken out half his HP by this point, so that it was still unnecessary regardless, and it was. And that's it. So yeah, that's if you notice, this fight, including the dark side, about half of the dark side portion was about 7 minutes. Muppets took about 17, so you can kind of see that as the fight drags on longer, you have a smaller chance of winning, if that makes sense. But again, you can't just attack like crazy. If I had thrown out offensive spells as my last turns and started throwing Impalvards with Zidane and Ultimas with Fiora, I would have gotten countered to death. So Zidane and Fiora couldn't do much damage on their own, so I let them play defensively, and I had Takumi do most of the offense, which is until Goner phase, which is probably for the best. Again, balancing offensive defense. Most of anything that I could say I would have already said in the previous analysis for Muppets' run, so I'll just call it at that. So, Season 188 out.